Fed up of wardrobes, driven to distraction and drowning with doom boxes? Tired of living in chaos? Welcome to Decluttering Untangled, how to declutter when you're overwhelmed, ADHD or autistic. I'm going to help you uncover the secrets to decluttering, no matter what hurdles you face. You'll discover how to declutter, de-stress and transform your world. I'm Heather Tingle, reformed hoarder, neurodivergent declutter queen, and your guide through the maze of mess. Let's get untangled. Hello Untanglers, and welcome to another episode of Decluttering Untangled with me, your host, Heather Tingle. Now, today's episode, very excited about this, was a request from an untangler. So thank you for giving me this idea. Now, if you have got a suggestion for the podcast, please do let me know because I would really love to hear it. Just send me a message, send me some feedback and tell me what you would like to know. So anyhow, today's podcast is how to declutter and then keep on top of handbag clutter. Now, I don't mean decluttering your handbags, although I am sure that is something that you can do, but today's episode is about what you keep inside your handbag. So decluttering that stuff. Now, if you don't have a handbag or you don't use a handbag, that is okay because I'm sure there is still strategy stuff you can use from this episode. So the main problem I see with handbags is they turn into little black holes where things disappear. So receipts, old tissues, half-empty lip balms, random coins, and recognising this makes it less about being messy and more about the bag is just a convenient drop zone. It's almost a doom bag in its own right. And that is a normal thing for most people to have, whether you're neurodivergent, whether you live in clutter or you don't. Handbags are well renowned to becoming the place where everything is kept. If you've ever seen Mary Poppins, where everything is in the handbag, you will know what I mean. However, as great as that is, being a catch-all and a massive doom bag, it can cause problems. So when you want to take a different bag out with you, or you don't want to use a bag at all, you could swap the use of a handbag and replace it for a coat pocket, because this is also a very similar situation where you can have problems. So you end up not knowing where stuff is when you need it. And the other issue is you end up with a very full and very heavy bag. Now, how often have you gone to get a sweet or a chewing gum and found something sticky in there, or you can't actually eat it because it's covered in fluff, or a tissue that you really don't want to use now, or a tampon that's unwrapped itself and now can't be used at all? If you're anything like me, I would imagine that is quite a familiar scenario. So a cluttered handbag weighs you down, not only literally, so old water bottles, notebooks you don't use, 10 pens, a million lipsticks, they all add extra strain on your shoulders without you noticing. But also the stress of not having the things that you need when you need them, or not being good enough to use when you do need them, or not knowing whereabouts things are. So it might be that you've got a million different handbags, different things in each one. You just take the essentials out of each one when you need them, and then you end up with 5 bags with random stuff in that you never get round to sorting out. So this is what we're going to do today. You're going to start out with a tip out. You're going to get everything out of these bags and find out what is in there. So maybe go onto the floor, tip them all out, find what is in the bag to start with. Now, seeing everything in one pile can really help you realise what you're carrying around with you every day. First thing, like you do with most decluttering, is to get like items together. So all your pens together, all your receipts together, all your toiletries together, hand sanitizer, all your rubbish. It really helps you to see the duplicates that you've got. So do you really need 3 hand sanitizers? Do you really need 5 lipsticks? Is there a load of coins in the bottom of the bag and actually they should be in your purse or wallet? It'll help you see what you've got. And it will help you make quicker decisions, which is the best one of these for me to keep with me. And also be aware what is really essential with you and what is just traveling around with you. So ask yourself, do you really need that daily when you leave the house? Or is it traveling around with you on the off chance that you do need it? So, for example, you might want a notebook every so often in your handbag if you're going to a meeting, but you don't necessarily having it traveling around with you all the time. It doesn't necessarily need to be in your handbag. So that's when having, what we usually find is people think, I know, I'll get one of those handbag tidies and I'll just take it from one handbag to another. And all that tends to do, in all honesty, is just move the clutter around with you and it gets heavier and heavier. And yes, it can make life simpler, but I want you to try doing something different first before you spend any money. So what really works for me and a lot of my clients is having Ziploc bags or pouches inside your handbag to stop it turning into chaos. So one for self-care items, one for work stuff, one for emergencies. So for example, I might have one which is like my medicine stuff. So there's always going to be paracetamol in there. And usually a pad of some description. Plaster might come in handy. So having an emergencies one, which is going to come around with me every day, but it's in its own little plastic bag, which means it's not going to get ruined with all the other stuff touching it all the time. So when you do need that plaster, it can be used. Now you could consider getting a handbag tidy that you can swap between bags, but in all honesty, I want you to start with something simple and cheap like Ziploc bags first to see if it helps. So have those little pouches. So I definitely have one for sweets because I like sweets. I find them very, they help with my anxiety when I'm traveling, having something familiar that I can eat because I'm vegan, so going around isn't often I can eat the sweets or biscuits that are available to me. So if I have my little sweet bag with me with my little Biscoff biscuits, that is not an advert, by the way. If I can have a little bag with them in there, I feel comfortable that I've got those with me. But it keeps them separate from everything else so that if the packet of sweets opens up, I don't get a sticky sweet at the bottom of my handbag that gets stuck to my handbag. So that really helps. And it also helps you realise the extra bits that you're putting into your handbag when they haven't got those Ziploc bags. It means that they are kind of like alien and they need to be dealt with because they're not meant to be in there. So that will help you realise what is new and what shouldn't be there. And let's face it, handbags do become rubbish dumping grounds. So receipts, snack wrappers, expired vouchers and coupons, they all multiply. So a weekly check, maybe every Sunday evening, so before the working week or at the end of on a Friday. And if honestly, I know it sounds awful to do, but I do it nearly every day when I come back in with my handbag. I go through my handbag daily to take things out. It really helps stop it piling up. And it makes such a difference knowing you know exactly what is in there, and it gets you into a good habit. Now, I am aware that isn't always easy if you're neurodivergent, but it does mean that the strategies in the rest of your home need to be on point. Now, they need to be on point because then it makes it easy if you're going to keep up with your handbag. So, for example, if filing a receipt you need isn't simple in your home, then you're not going to find taking receipts out of your handbag at the end of each day easy either. So where it follows on from being removed from your handbag, is it easy in the rest of your home to put it away? So for me, it is because I have, funnily enough, I have a receipts bag, which I put papers into that I need to keep. And then once a week, I would put them out and update my accounting software with them every week. Now, that is a habit to get into, which takes a lot of effort for me to do. But getting things out of my handbag and putting them in my tray, well, not even a tray, in the side of my computer to make them happen means it's more likely to happen. But that's because I have that system set up. So that's why it's got to work as part of the bigger picture. I'd also look at where stuff lives when it's not needed. A lot of the time things end up in our handbags because you haven't got a space for them in your home already. So it's got to stay in the handbag because otherwise you'll forget it exists or you'll not know where it is when you need it. Now, if it's not in its handbag, does it have a home that makes sense for you? Maybe a go drawer or a go basket. So if you're not sure about those, go check out the earlier episodes on those. Or if it doesn't need a home with the other items like it, where else could it be? So I would look at the things that are in your handbag and ask, do they need to stay in here? Are these essential? If not, where are they going to live? Where is their home going to be? And then you can really enjoy having the joy of a reset each time. Fresh decluttered handbag makes life easier and smoother. You can find your keys, you can find your purse, your wallet, your phone. It feels calmer to carry. It might feel like a small declutter, but actually it can pay off massively in stress and chaos levels later. So if you've got a spare 20 minutes now, that is something that you can be doing. Now, the other thing that seems to happen, and I don't quite understand why it takes so long for us to get to this point, is that we have different seasons in our life and our handbag seems to be the last thing that follows through with that season. So if you've moved on, for example, if you've had children, if you've moved on from toddler snacks or different work companies or student life, does your handbag and its contents still reflect that? Because sometimes decluttering inside can also make you question if the bag itself still suits your needs. Do you really need all those million compartments? Is it a bag that you really you like? Do you enjoy using it? Has it got the compartments that you need? I've just changed my handbag to a smaller bag so that I can travel with it and not have to worry about airports, because it's got 1,000,001 different compartments, so I can keep everything separate. And that works really, really well for me, rather than one big empty old handbag. So at the moment, for example, my handbag always has paracetamol because, I'm in pain quite a lot. It's always got a spare knickers because, just in case, who knows what's going to happen. And it's always got sachets of salt because I've got POTS, so I have to have high salt. So it used to have, guaranteed, baby wipes in it, which, to be fair, are still useful in handbags, and a tomato ketchup sachet for when my daughter was little, because she wouldn't eat anything unless it was covered in tomato ketchup. So what feels useful to have in right now, and is it in with your life right now? Is it likely to be used, or is it just habit that you've got it in there? Now, figure out what you want to have in your handbag, and now pare it back a little bit, because I reckon you've automatically gone for the everything but the kitchen sink amount, haven't you? So have a look at what you need and pare it back to the minimum essentials, and ask, if I didn't have this in my handbag, what would I do instead? So just to recap, declutter your handbag to what you need right now. Consider rehoming things elsewhere in the house so you know exactly where they are and it is easy for that to find them again. And look at the items that are coming into your home. Do they have a home? Look at how you can periodically go through your bag to keep it maintained, and consider Ziploc bags or food bags to keep similar items together in the meantime, and see if it works for you. Now, I would love to know the unexpected things that you find in your bag. Please do pop over to the Facebook community and let me know the weird and wonderful things you have found in your handbag. So until next time, be kind to yourself. Remember, you are not alone, and keep untangling. Thanks for joining me for today's episode of Decluttering Untangled. If you found anything that I've said today helpful, please do me a favour. Hit that subscribe button or leave me a review. It's like receiving a virtual high five that keeps me going and lets me know that I'm helping real people out there and I'm making a difference. Please remember, you're not alone in this. I'm building a community of fellow untanglers over on Facebook. Just visit the show notes for the link to my free decluttering community. So until next time, remember, you're not alone, you're not lazy, you can untangle your life.